What's going on, everybody? My name is Jack Kelly, host of The Point to the Spot, a U.S.-based podcast focused on the world of football. Joining me today, as always, my entirely bonkers friend, who I love dearly, Reed Hammond. Reed, how are you?
Good. I'm watching Andy Carroll's overhead kick right now.
Also joining the show today, a future presidential candidate, Ball for Pres 2020, I can't stand Donald Trump's America, Andrew Ball. Andrew, how are you, good sir?
I'm good. How are you, Jack?
I'm doing well. I'm tired, but I'm well. But I think the most important thing that came out of this weekend was the Point to the Spot Summit Part 2, 2K17. We're going to need a little bit of a summary of what the weekend was like. Who would like to do the honors?
Reed, I think you should start, and then I'll fill in the salacious details along the way.
Yeah, so Andrew's made his way into the great, and by great I mean tumultuous city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was fun, very fun. He got to become accustomed with Marquette's draconian hall admissions. Very fun. A lot of non-governmental ID involved.
Which sounds as scandalous as you would think.
Yes. Oh, yes. Very scandalous. We took a brief trip into Harborview and went to a hipster to the point of annoying me brewery, Brenner Brewery. Shout out.
They should sponsor
I did not drink. Yeah, they should. Brenner Brewery, if you're listening.
What do you mean? I bought you beer.
I was trying to pitch this to Brenner Brewing to try to get an actual commercial out of this, because we have come under much criticism for why do you guys take breaks? There's no advertisements. And I just need some kind of advertisement because I need some justification for these breaks.
Well, I should say, if we're trying to pander to get them to sponsor us, it was good beer.
It was definitely good beer. Yeah, very good beer. Very fun event. Extraordinarily packed. Very exciting. Tremendously packed.
Well, we should say what the event was for. So it was the season kickoff party for the Milwaukee Torrent, who are the MPSL team for the greater Milwaukee area.
Shout out to Non-League America.
Yes, it was our foray into non-league Milwaukee. Good attendance. They got over a couple hundred people at the event.
Yeah,
which 200. I can say that event space was not designed to hold that many people.
Nope.
But players were there. Coach was there. We got to get some little tidbits for a story pod that will be coming out soon. And then I even got to see a Milwaukee Torrent game.
And it was in torrential downpour.
It was, yeah. Okay, Jack, see yourself out after that one. It was good. It was like the most non-league American soccer thing ever. Their stadium was like this high school stadium almost in a park in Wauwatosa. And there's a train track that runs right next to it. And periodically throughout the game, trains would go by. And it was raining and cold. But the soccer was good. And I was impressed that they got literally anyone to come out and watch them. So shout out to the 4 dozen Milwaukee Torrent fans that made an appearance. I think that's pretty impressive given the conditions. Although negative shout out to the ticket takers because they did not take debit card.
No, yeah, guys, it sounded like an exciting time. I'm sad I missed it. But be on the lookout for the bonus pod talking about the 2 out of the 3 Point to the Spot boys adventure to Milwaukee to hang out with Milwaukee Torrent. I guess Reed lives there, so just Andrew's adventure down. But anyways, there was Premier League football that went on this weekend. A little bit higher quality, probably a little bit less goal scoring, certainly on Saturday. I hate to say it, but we can literally just glaze through Saturday as an entirety and nobody would miss anything. Hull got a draw, which keeps them out of the relegation zone. Swansea also got a draw. I mean, West Ham drew. West Ham's not really in danger of going down unless they go on a slide, and Swansea and Hull went out. Bournemouth won against the worst team in the Premier League, Sunderland, who's now officially relegated. Goodbye, David Moyes. We will not miss you. Leicester won against the English footballing giants that are West Bromwich Albion. And I mean, Burnley got a strange away win against Palace, which I guess has some implications because, the little relegation scrap that's going on. But even still, Palace is 6 points clear, 3 games to go. I don't know. Swans don't exactly have that favorable of a run-in to go the rest of the way. Saturday was just boring. They scored, 1, 2, 3, 4 goals in 5 Premier League matches. That is terrible.
When Burnley are scoring 50% of the goals on any given match day, that's kind of depressing.
Reed, what happened in the West Ham game? Why didn't anybody score?
Oh no, it's just two very not two very defensively solvent performances. I think West Ham were very defensively solvent, which is good. You're finally seeing Jose Font's much lauded defensive organization and leadership skills come out. Because I will tell you, in that man's first half dozen games, you did not see that. But he played very well, kept a very tight ship. Arthur Masuaku played very well at left back. Good to see he had to go out and injure at halftime. He was, surprisingly enough, the source of a lot of the attacking flank. He had a lot of good combinations with Antonio. You got to say, Jack Butland, man deserves a round of applause. Played very well. England's number one. I think some distance, England's number one. Especially coming off a very long-term injury as he did. He played out of his skin and has played out of his skin since he's coming back. Adrian also had a good performance in goal, so it was more of a battle of two really good goalkeepers than two boring teams.
Something that hasn't been talked about too much, but there should actually maybe be some question marks about it. What do you make of Slaven Bilic's future with the club? I mean, 7th last season, they lost their stud. Terrible transitional period into the new stadium. Are you at all worried that he's not going to be the manager on the touchline come next season?
Oh, not at all. There was that stretch where it just looked like West Ham couldn't buy a win for a while. I was really worried for him, and I thought it would be a really poor reactionary sacking around that Christmas period. That was pretty bad, but he's right. He's right of the ship. He's got definitely a different perspective on the game than I would say the vast majority of West Ham fans do, and I would say the vast majority of U.S. or UK fans, given that he did kind of grow up on the Eastern Bloc. He played as a player. He was a defender, so he kind of looks at the game in a slightly different perspective. And it's gonna be the precipice is gonna be on him to see if he can finally grab the helm of the ship and do it, because a lot of the pitfalls have not been on his side. A lot of it has been just the move in general, and the board was making weird choices as much as he was. So we'll see. I think you can't, as a West Ham fan, you can't look back at the season with a lot of pride, but I think there's definitely glimmers of hope ahead, which is really all you can ever ask.
Interesting enough. Let's move on to Sunday's games. But
yes.
Before we get to Andrew, maybe more surprisingly, Manchester United once again failed to beat Swansea at Old Trafford. This is like the 4th time in 6 seasons or something.
I was going to say, this really isn't that surprising.
Yeah, it's this is like it's like Swans going to Old Trafford. Okay, we're gonna draw out of this one. I mean, good for Arsenal given the result that we had against Spurs, but like United have a 30-game unbeaten streak going, and you would never know because they're in 5th place and they do shit like this. They've got 14 draws, I think, this season, which is insane. Not too much to read in this one. Gylfi Sigurdsson getting a goal. Don't know if he'll definitely be back with a Premier League team or another top flight squad somewhere across the continent next year. I don't see him staying with Swansea in the Championship. No,
I mean, if they do avoid the drop, he'll probably stick around Wales. But yeah, no, this is definitely West Ham's Gylfi Sigurdsson, Everton's Gylfi Sigurdsson.
I can see
all written all over him. So yeah, he'll be around. I depending what happens this offseason, Spurs maybe even. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't be a bad signing. Him and Christian Eriksen might clash a little bit.
Well,
no, mate. They're both from Scandinavia.
Yeah, but they play the exact same position.
And that's why he left in the first place, is that he couldn't beat Eriksen out for time, so he left.
Yeah, I don't know.
So they tried that and it didn't work. So
he's gonna go to a 2-back formation.
I was like 95% kidding. I was like 95% kidding, but if we're gonna make this serious, I don't know.
I don't
They
know.
need
I don't-
cover.
It's not the most
They need
unreasonable
cover.
thing.
Yeah.
New ground.
I would love to see Gilfie in
Champions
a.
League, which they didn't when he left. So
Yeah, you're right. We'll see. I don't know. I think that's a
That's a
Where he's going-
microwave warm take.
Yeah.
it's not gonna
Yeah.
happen. But like, it's kind of fun to think about.
yeah, but he's definitely a transfer target to watch this summer.
Oh yeah.
It should be a fun saga.
Chelsea traveled to Goodison Park to take on Everton. This was the one glimmer of hope that people saw in Chelsea dropping points. And, well, the first half fairly evenly matched. They did end up dead even on possession. In the second half, Pedro getting a goal in the 66th, Gary Cahill in the 79th, and Willian in the 86th. Chelsea take the game 3-0. Two things from this match that I found surprising. Pedro, nobody's really certain which one his dominant foot is because you can't really tell. He's having a good season. And second, Gary Cahill has scored more goals in the Premier League this year than any other defender. And even though his primary job is a defender, I think that makes, I don't think it's right, but I think that's where the justification for his spot in the team of the year
That's
is.
terrible justification.
Yeah, but that's what a lot of people see,
That's like the kind of analysis I would expect from someone who's watched like 2 football matches ever.
I mean, I don't think it should.
I'm not saying from you,
Yeah,
but like
it's-
I'm saying that analysis in general is like rudimentary and is in no way. I don't know.
If you're looking at it, Spurs' back line should have just been plucked across. They only have allowed 22 goals.
Yeah,
this
I mean,
season.
David Luiz doesn't piss me off that much because he's been the best defender on the best team in the league.
That's true.
But Toby Alderweireld is without a doubt, and I don't know how you can argue to the contrary. He's without a doubt the best defender in England, and has shown it this year. The best center back, I should say.
Do you think the title charge from Spurs is over now?
Yeah, I mean,
Even
I don't know where Chelsea's going to drop points, and
Yeah.
Spurs still have to play Manchester United and West Ham. So, yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
We'll
It's-
glaze over. We'll glaze over this next match. Borough 2, City 2. Borough really hard done. They should have won this game. Calum Chambers gave them the 2-1 lead. Arsenal man in the 77th minute, but then they kind of got that gift of a penalty that was converted late. I don't know. Citizens not looking great again. Hoping that they continue to struggle and maybe Arsenal will be able to squeak into the top 4. Not super confident about it. Anyways, we'll move on, and I'll let Andrew make fun of me for a full solid minute before I say anything about this match.
No, I mean, okay. So this is my thing on the North London Derby.
I got to return the St. Todderingham gift I bought you, by the way. It was on sale at the beginning of the year.
My favorite thing is all the Arsenal fans being like, we never cared about St. Totteringham's Day, when they were literally the one who cared about St. Totteringham's Day. So that aside, my thing with the North London Derby is there are a lot of bad takes from Spurs fans who are like, oh, the balance of power and the NLD shifted. It's like, no, Arsenal still have mathematically a bajillion more trophies than Spurs do. It takes more than 1 or 2 seasons to flip that. But I mean, for decades and decades, North London has been red. And for this year, the final year at White Hart Lane, North London is blue. And I think that that's pretty cool to be able to say as a Spurs fan. And it's pretty cool to be able to send the lane out with what I thought was a dominating performance from Spurs, something that we have not seen from them in an NLD in some time. And return somewhat the favor of Arsenal winning the title twice at White Hart Lane. It was a fun one. It was one of my, so not in the gloating sense, but it was one of my favorite sports moments ever. Just the pain of being a Spurs fan.
I mean, it was
lifted for a brief period of time.
There were glimmers of hope in the first half. Arsenal, I think, for the first 20 or 25 minutes, really did have a firm grip on the match. How often do we see Arsenal not score early on and then let it get away from them? I think this is a perfect example of it. But, I mean, I can't deny that Spurs is overwhelmingly a better side than Arsenal this season. And, I mean, if anything, sports are so often, sports seasons are so often judged by the narrative around them. To win the NLD in the last one at White Hart Lane, can't really be too bent out of shape about that. Dele Alli scoring a goal, literally he would have been a ghost up to this point, besides that one missed header that he had in the first half with Oxlade-Chamberlain.
Which there'll be plenty of bants on the training ground, I'm sure about.
Oh, I know.
That was a sitter.
Oh, my God. It was harder to miss. Literally, if you would have told him to flick the ball wide of the goal from 4 feet in front of the face of the goal from where he was, he would have scored more times than he missed. I mean, him grabbing a goal the way he does, Harry Kane penalty, obviously the controversy around it. He did leave that leg hanging out there. There was contact, whatever.
It wasn't great from
finish.
Gabriel.
Yeah, it wasn't great for Gabriel.
I mean, because he wasn't really a threat from where he was.
No, it was stupid. The police is not any good. That being said, Harry Kane was clinical from the spot inside of the post. And Reed, as the objective third party in this situation, what do you make of this season of football in North London?
I definitely found it really surprising. I found it very surprising not that Spurs finished above Arsenal in the league. I don't think that at the start of the season it was that crazy of a thought that they could. You're kind of finally feeling the how West Ham fans feel when we beat Spurs. It's like you give us shit every day of every other day of the year, except for the one day that we beat you, like, which rarely happens, to be fair. Like, it's not hard to say that Spurs are a better club than West Ham and have a bigger magnitude on the game. But it's also fair to say Arsenal have a bigger magnitude on the game than Spurs. But no, you don't get to fucking pick on me anymore. We goddamn won the game. You know what I mean? So I think you guys kind of get that, going up, which is fun.
I will also say, even if West Ham beats Spurs this week, Spurs it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know that West Ham fans get to say that if that happens on Friday, Reed.
No, but it's that feeling of like.
But your point's well taken.
Yeah, it's that feeling of screw you guys. Like
It's like every time Arsenal beats one of the other big clubs.
Which happens all the time. Could you imagine? Hold on, just like we'll go back to the actual NLD power shift, which I'm actually more for than I think Andrew is. But could you imagine being a Liverpool fan and just being numb to it at this point? Jay-Z with Beyonce, where you just like you can't feel it anymore. You know what I mean? But I actually do think if you're talking about a power shift, I think there definitely is a power shift in North London. Playing, I think leaving White Hart Lane is going to be and I'm excited to see if Pochettino can navigate it, because we've seen that Slaven Bilic clearly cannot. So I think that's a wild card that's not given enough attention, but this team can grow at the rate that they've been growing the last 3 seasons. They are definitely going to solidify that top spot in North London. You can't look at it, you can't compare, the history of it, but I think you can definitely compare topical relevance.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll respond to that real quick. I definitely agree that I think Spurs, it's undeniable Spurs are ascending, and that the rivalry will be much more competitive in the next decade than it was in the past decade. And that Spurs, they have not just the personnel, but also with the new stadium and also with the money coming in from that, the ability to, in terms of the financial and business side, that's the same fucking thing. Okay. In terms of the business side of the club, I'm going to edit that out, will have much more potency than they have in the past. I just think the idea that Arsenal is just going to roll over, though, and have no reaction to this change, this temporary change, is ludicrous. For fans of both teams, you got to be excited, because I think the next decade to 2 decades has a lot of potential for becoming not just the best rivalry in England, but one of the best rivalries in Europe in terms of in terms of competition.
Oh, it's gonna be terrific.
Yeah, you gotta be excited.
Oh yeah, and like the thing too is like there's a lot of it's good things, and we're very much American in this sense, right? Spurs is getting a new stadium. That's huge for the club. People get excited, and so now it's not just going to be like no offense to the tradition and the history of White Hart Lane. Like now it goes from you play in the Palace of the Emirates in this brand new state-of-the-art stadium to White Hart Lane, and now it's going to be 2 just unbelievable top stadiums in the world are going to host these events, and you're going to have, I don't know what the Lane holds, 35 or 40,000 right now. You're going to have an extra 20,000 fans in there. It's going to be terrific for the atmosphere. A little bit with the power thing, like I do think Spurs is definitely on the rise, and in the current state, I mean, they signed 14 players to long-term contracts. Of course, they look better. I don't know if it's like if calling for, and I know you're not Andrew, but I don't know, like people calling for a power shift might be a little bit too early because
it's
like
one
it's only
year.
one season. I mean, that
kind
I
of
would say,
two, and
I would argue 2. I would definitely.
hey, who finished in second?
But,
Yeah,
like,
I know, but
yeah.
that doesn't mean that much to me. I think
But like,
if you were
Spurs were
if you were a 14-year-old kid last season, Premier League, and you would sign a schoolboy contract, maybe you're signing with Spurs now. I think that's the barometer.
And my thing with Spurs last year is like Arsenal did finish ahead of Spurs, but I think for large chunks of the season, Spurs could lay claim to being the best team in Europe, and Arsenal did not have a long period of time where they could say that.
no,
But they they finished above them.
pretty much when the 8-game winning streak ran out for Arsenal in like November of last season. We were in first place and everything was happy. And then January came around and we Arsenaled ourselves, at least as of recent. Anyways, guys, one final game, which is hot topic. Liverpool traveling to Vicarage Road to beat Watford 1-0 today off of Emre Can's wonder goal. At a full sprint, running with the ball coming over his shoulder, overhead kicks it and floats it into the top corner. I thought it was better than Andy Carroll's goal. Reed disagrees. We'll let the neutral third party, Andrew, weigh in on this one.
I liked Emre Can's goal better.
It's just technically it was so much more difficult.
Yeah, I think that like Andy Carroll's goal was very visually appealing in a way potentially that Emre Can's was not. But yeah, degree of difficulty I think has to go with Emre Can.
I disagree in that I think the entirety of the goal that was Andy Carroll's goal was far more technically difficult than the entirety of Emre Can's goal. Because granted, it's difficult to get into position at a sprint like that and get under the ball as he did. But I'm saying the ball played to Lanzini, Lanzini's ball to Tonio's dink, and then giant Andy Carroll.
Yeah, but like for Carroll, it was like literally you look at FIFA or you look in real life if you've gone and fucked around with your friends to try to do overhead kicks like I did when I was younger. Like literally the ball that came into Andy Carroll is like oh my God, I'm about to hit a bicycle because this ball is perfect. The ball that came into Can was behind him, like, basically midfield, and he turned himself around and kicked it into the top and put it in the top bit.
No, I know.
Technically, it was much more difficult.
We're having a slightly different conversation.
Okay, for important context for our listeners, Reed, what club do you support?
Well, yeah, West Ham, of course.
What club does Andy Carroll play for?
Oh, some would say he's still a sleeper agent at Liverpool, just stroking the West Ham's wage bill. But no, there's definitely a lot of implicit bias here. But I'm saying part of Andy Carroll's goal was Antonio playing a flu game and putting the ball onto the spot. That's part of the goal, in my opinion. Argument. Because a goal isn't just a finish. And it depends on how you're judging the category. Because if we're judging on just the striker in the situation, yeah, Emre Can did something extraordinary. But the fact that I watched the game and the fact that I've never seen Andy Carroll do anything like that, it was I don't know.
They will both be in the running, I believe, for goal of the year. Yes, I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah, I mean we've got three clear candidates.
Yeah,
now.
3 clear candidates.
Four with Mkhitaryan's, even though he was offside.
Yeah, that's true.
Exactly.
Which is why I don't like that goal, but it will be in contention coming.
It will be in contention, but I don't think that was the best scorpion kick we saw all year. I think Olivier Giroud's goal was I would give it a distance. I would give it a leg on Andy Carroll's goal as far as visual striking is, because that was crazy.
Oh, it was incredible to watch, but he But as much as he said he meant to do it, he just meant to touch the ball.
Yeah. He didn't mean to do that strike, and that was, if we're looking at the goal as an entirety, that was a really poorly played in ball.
Hey, that was actually a very good move, though. Lucas Perez tracked back, won on a slide. We moved the ball around 12 times. He comes in, Giroud back heels over his head, hits the ball, and crossbar goes in.
It was definitely a good move.
You guys know what's going to happen, all right? So, you know, a couple weeks back, David Villa had that goal.
Oh my God!
And then Anthony Jackson
didn't win. Yeah.
Yeah, the little like accidental flicking.
That
one.
was cool though.
You know
It
what's
was
gonna happen?
cool, but
Andre Gray
oh my
is
god,
gonna win goal of the week.
Stop it.
Shut the fuck
Future
up.
future Spurs striker Andre Gray will win goal of the week at the
Future
expense.
Barcelona- You mean future Atletico Madrid striker? Like,
No, that's Josh King, mate. That's
oh, you're
Josh
right.
King.
You're right. Josh King, I learned this week, is Norwegian and came up
What?
to United. Yeah, Josh King, he's both Norwegian and came up through United's youth academy.
Okay, well that means he's definitely going to Real Madrid because that's
Yeah,
badass.
exactly, because he's foreign. Yeah, he's foreign. He'll pull the Martin Odegaard card. I don't know. That's where I stand on this. I'm saying if we look at the goal in the entirety, I think Andy Carroll's goal was better. But if we look at the technical difficulty of the strike, you have to give it to Emre Can. That was definitely something special.
Also, like Emre Can, I didn't know he could jump that high. He's like not the thinnest guy. Like
No. And it did when it impressive and visually striking as the actual like contact on the ball going into the back of the net was very disappointing. Like when you watch it a couple times, because like bicycle kick or a scissor kick, whatever you want to call it, the best is that it just freaking rockets.
this one was like it floated.
Yeah, it was like a
Floated.
paper airplane.
I did love the celebration though. He went straight over to Jurgen, and they were all hugging it out.
But who wouldn't want a Jurgen hug? Like, come on, man. It's kind of like Jurgen has the hug.
Do
And
you
Potter-
like what I'm
Yeah.
doing? Do you like when I dance this way?
If only
Anyways,
this is a video
guys.
pod. If only this is a video pod.
Anyways, guys, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you very much for listening. Of course, you can find us all on the social, as Reed Hammond likes to refer to it. Reed, where can they find you on Twitter?
That one kid read.
And Andrew?
I'm also on LinkedIn.
At MK Torrent. Oh wait, the Torrent didn't fucking retweet me this weekend. At Andrew Ball, BAHL.
Guys, you can find me at actual Jack Kelly. I am actually Jack Kelly. Don't forget to follow the show at Point to the Spot with the number 2. And check out our partners, AmericanEPLThoughts.com. Season's wrapping up, and Travis and the gang over there have been doing really good work all year long.
Yeah, no, quick shout out though to Coach Andy, very magnanimous host. For us, we really appreciate him. Very appreciated the warm welcome, and we hope we can only show that appreciation through the.
Agreed. Milwaukee Torrent. I think they have a bright future ahead of them, laying the foundation for a great club and really top class to a couple of college kids. So
Yeah,
very much
definitely
appreciated.
top class.
Well, guys, that's all the time that we have. Thank you very much for listening. Of course, we'll be back on Thursday for the classic midweek pod. What are we going to talk about? We don't know. Let us know on Twitter what you'd like to hear. Until then, though, guys, have a great rest of the week.